Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Teachers That Sparkle, the place that you can get just that little piece of information that helps you make your classroom the very best it can be and do amazing things with your children. I'm recording on Monday, January 15th, so happy MLK Day. I know that Martin Luther King Jr. did so much for people. His service to the country, his life was ended way too short, and I just hope that all of us have that little something inside of us that will carry on the great work that he did, because people are people and we should be out there lifting people up and supporting each other, not tearing each other down, no matter what your skin color, no matter what your gender, no matter what or where you are from. We need to be able to be kinder and take care of people. So those are my little thoughts for today before we get started with this week's information. So I was really thinking about this as I had conversations with my daughter this week. Last week was her first week back after the holiday break. And I just remember how important it was as a principal that I always reminded my teachers to go back over and review. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I've been back to school for 2 weeks. It's too late. Guys, it's never too late. Trust me, learn from my mistakes. My first year, we all know it was bad. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I struggled. You know that I was planning to quit. And one of the biggest mistakes I made coming back after big breaks was that I did not take time to review with my students. And I learned quickly that just that little bit on the front end is going to save so much later on. So I got to a habit of reviewing everything all the time. So my kids just knew it was normal, to a place where not only could they respond back, what is rule number one? Blah, 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 blah. And why do we have it? I needed them to understand the purpose. If they just can remember the rules, but they have no application to it or why it's important, then it doesn't matter. So let me give you just a couple of tips for going back over and reviewing. Number one, you don't have to review everything in one setting. Break it up. Maybe on Monday, you're reviewing how we walk into the classroom. Tuesday is how we turn our papers in. Wednesday is how we control our behavior in the cafeteria. Thursday is how we get to and out of school each day. Friday is how we are kind and talk to others in the classroom. And those kinds of things can hit all grade levels. It doesn't just have to be elementary. Middle school kids, for sure, but also high school kids need to be reminded. I step back and think about how many times I had to remind my teachers, my staff about things, and they were adults. So something super important to think about. Number two, make sure that you ask kids questions about it, that you ask them why you have those rules, as I mentioned, that you make it relevant to their own life. Get them involved. If you just stand up in front and you say, okay, guys, here are the 5 rules in our classroom. What are the 5 rules in our classroom? Okay, let's go on with our lesson for today. You have to make this purposeful. And yes, you've told your students lots of times, but kids forget. And as I just mentioned, so do adults. So let's have a little grace and let's just assume we need to double up on everything we tell them. Plus, people have to hear something like 7 times before it's internalized. And now we just came back from a break. All right. And finally, the big piece of information that I think you should remember when you're thinking about review is continue whenever students do not follow a rule to talk to them about what happened, why did it happen, and why that rule is in place. When we get into trouble, think about your own self. You get called into the principal's office, right? What's going in your mind? I know what my teachers would tell me. They would tell me, oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh my gosh, am I in trouble? Why am I being called in? She doesn't like me. Does she like me? I don't know. Am I going? All of these things are going in our minds, right? So if a student has done something in the classroom and you pull them out into the hall or you pull them to the side and you're having this conversation with them, I promise you, 60,000 things are going on in their mind, right? And they're not trying to process all of those thousands of things. They're trying to find some control within their body. We know this because what is the first thing that kids want to do when you say, okay, we're having this conversation because you were talking while I was teaching and others could not hear me. Now they want to argue back because they're trying to control the situation. No, I wasn't. Okay, but you were. I saw you. No, I wasn't. And now it becomes a power struggle. What if we could just back up and we could say something like, okay, Sherry, do you know why I called you over here? Now, I want you to know right now, we're just having a conversation. I don't want you to think that I don't like you. I don't want you to think that you're in trouble, but let's just have a conversation about what's going on. I have asked you 3 times to stop talking. Is something going on today that's causing you to be very talkative and to talk while I'm teaching? That brings out something where now the child, most of the time, no, this is not going to work 100%, but most of the time is going to be able to go, oh, she's given me or he's given me an opportunity to discuss what's happening with me. I'm having a tough day and I cannot focus and I wanted to take the attention off this work. This work is hard. You learn a lot from those conversations. Now, again, it completely changes when you say something like this. I am tired of your talking today. I have told you 3 times to stop talking. I wasn't talking. Yes, you were talking. Okay. You want to argue about it? All right. That's 4 times now I've had to speak to you about breaking a rule today. I'm not breaking you see what I'm saying? If we're already heightened because we don't know what's going on in our minds, and we already know we've broken a rule and we're going to try our best to get out of it, we're going to do everything we can to control that situation. And what better way to have control is to have the power. All right, guys, again, short little nuggets, just something for you to be able to use immediately in your classroom. But be sure you go back, if you have not already done it, and review your expectations. This is the perfect time of the year to do it. Take little chunks at a time. Don't do it all at once. Make sure you explain to the students why these things are important. And when you're having conversations, when they break the rules, open it up for conversation. Don't necessarily just go in with power because you're going to get power back and it's going to make it a whole lot more interesting for you. All right, that's everything this week from Teachers that Sparkle. I'm Sherry, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you right back here where you can get that little nugget of information to help you be your best in the classroom. Bye, y'all.